Hey, how's it going, guys? So Caleb here again. Welcome back to the third video of the series, How I Survive as a Freelancer. So this video, I'm going to be talking about a lot about money. So we all need money to survive, right? We don't work for nothing, and we can't survive without money. So this video, I'm going to be talking a lot about money as a freelancer. How do I get paid? What do you charge? So this video is going to be kind of long because there's a lot of things I prepared to talk about, and you're not going to be looking at my face all the time because I have some slides that I can show you guys as I'm talking. So because the video is long, I have like some links down below that you can just skip the video to a certain point with a certain topics. So if you want to do that, so the first point, I just want to bring up like all these points now. So the first point is the type of clients that you'll be working with as a freelancer. And the second point I'm going to be talking about is the pricing. So there are project-based pricing, there are hourly-based pricing, so which one is the better options based on my experience. And the third point is I'm going to be talking more about my pricing strategy. How much do I charge as a product designer? And how do I maintain my business? What is my goal into running this whole thing? So with all that said, let's get into the first point. So the very first point we have in here is the type of clients. So as you can see in the slide here, that there are 4 types of clients that you will be working with. And the first type is the low budget clients and don't value quality. So I'm not going to go too deep into like each of these type, but I would just tell you like which ones should you work with, which one you should not work with. So type 1 is definitely the type that you don't want to work with. You'll be able to find a lot of these type of clients, this kind of clients on websites like 99 Design or Odesk or Upwork right now. So this website, they have a lot of people looking for low budget work, and they don't really value quality, because like if they value quality, they usually don't go to this kind of website. I'm not saying for sure, but I'm just saying usually. So don't work for this type of clients. Second type of client is low budget clients, but they value quality. So these are the type of clients that happen to be a lot of, at least in my case, happens to be a lot of startups owner. So they have very low budget because they have to spend a lot of money into running their startups, and they don't have a lot of funding, but still they want their startup to be able to succeed. So that's why they would still want to work with the best designers possible. So I sometimes still work with these kind of clients. It's because usually depending on the scope of the project and the creativity that I can get to the project, and sometimes I still take on low budget work. But one thing that to keep in mind is even though they're low budget, there are some other things that you can discuss with your clients. And in my case, some of these people, they come to me, they may be running a product, running a business and building a product, and with that you can discuss with them in some other options. So you may be able to charge a little bit lower for your fee, but then like you ask for a certain amount of equity. So that may be one thing that your clients can agree on and to work with you on the project. So even low budget is still like that may be something good to put on your portfolio. So that may be still a project that you can consider working on. So the third type of client is the medium budget clients and value quality. So type 3 to 4, from type 2 to 4 is all value quality. So type 3 is the medium budget. So these are the clients that are currently have a budget, and they're looking for a small agency. So not talking about the client just like like using bootstrapping the entire thing. So these are the people that has a medium funding, so maybe $1 million funding or above it, so they have some money to spend. And these are the type 3s are the clients that I'm working with the most right now, because like a lot of people that reach out to me, they already have some type of fundings from either VC or from other angel investors. So they're very good clients to work with. They don't have like super high expectation from you, but they do value good quality. So it's a sweet spot for me for now. Type 4 clients is the clients that I don't have the chance to work with yet, because I think that my business is right now still pretty small. So high profile clients, they usually reach out to higher profile agency as well. So it's like Apple match Apple, right? So if your agency appear to be pretty high end, then you may be able to attract these kind of clients, and with a bigger team as well. Right now my team is only a few people. So we don't really have a chance to work with high budget clients. And by high budget, I'm talking about like clients that sometimes can pay up to $1 million for your services. So these are very high high profile clients. I can't speak too much for that because right now I'm not in the position of getting these kind of clients right now. Now let's talk about the value pricing. So I just put value pricing in here is because I feel that you should not charge, you should definitely charge by value, not flat fee project for all the project coming into your funnel. So what does value pricing means? Value pricing means that you charge based on the value that you're giving to your clients. Pretty straightforward. So let's talk about the project based versus hourly basing. So there are two most common pricing people charge. At least I tried both in the past, and I have like some insights about this too. So let's talk about the pros and cons of each of these things. So here, let's talk about the hourly based pricing. What is good about it? What is bad about it? Which ones do you charge? So for hourly based pricing, it's very easy to estimate and very straightforward if you're just getting started. By that I mean when you don't know how much to estimate on a project. Let's say if you're just getting started, you have no idea how much time you're gonna spend on the project, and the easiest way for you will be to just tell the clients that I'm gonna charge by hour. And so that's very easy, that's very straightforward. It's a good way to start, to kind of like know how much you're gonna spend on this type of project. So later on, then you may be able to change to the fixed rate pricing, and because you get the estimates of your working speed. So again, like it doesn't need to estimate. You get paid for the time you spend on the project, so it's pretty good. And you make more money if you're slow as well. So think about like if you have to spend, let's say 20 hours on a landing page, versus a guy that only had to spend 5 hours on the landing page. And of course, like if that guy's spending 5 hours on the landing page, they're gonna charge less if they bill by hour. But let's say if you're spending 20 hours on that landing page, which I think happened to a lot of other designers as well. So that will just make your revenue more, because you're actually spending more time into the work. I'm not saying that you should rush to finish stuff. I'm just saying that like some people in general, they just work a little slower. So for those kind of people, I think that maybe that would make more sense for you to charge per hour, because potentially you can make more for charging per hour. So again, like the last point is without the clear scope of work. So what I mean is when you take on a project, some projects, even the clients doesn't know how much work is going to be into that project. So it's very hard for you to estimate the work to be done, and it's very hard for the clients to kind of tell you what exactly they have in mind as well. So it will be easier for both of you to charge per hour. And one last point I've been putting here is that hourly based pricing is also good for ongoing projects. So let's say if you want to have kind of ongoing maintenance work with your clients, then even after you finish the fixed rates pricing, then you can go back to the hourly rates for maintenance work. So that could be really good as well. Let's talk about the cons in here. So definitely when you're charging per hour, you kind of limits your potential to make more money, because one of the biggest reasons is because most of the clients, they will hesitate to pay you a lot of money per hour. So for example, if you ask your clients to for $200 per hour, then your clients definitely gonna think twice about it before they hire you, right? Because like $200 per hour in their mind is a lot of money. So it's very hard to like charge too expensive, unless like it also depends on the type of work you do as well. Imagine like if you tell people I'm gonna do strategy for you, but I'm gonna charge you $1,000 per hour to do strategy for you, versus I'm gonna charge 1,000 for strategy work, but then you spend 1 hour doing the work, right? Then in the client's mind, then they will be like, hey, I'm paying $1,000 for this whole thing, versus like just 1 hour, but the work is actually just 1 hour. So again, like I think hourly rate pricing may scare people away, because the amount that you're charging is a lot higher than what they have in mind. So these are the pros and cons to me, I think, about hourly rate pricing. So now let's talk about project-based pricing. This is the pricing scheme that I use right now, and I prefer to charge per project base versus per hourly base, because in my experience I usually get paid more than hourly rates a lot. I would say by 50%. So definitely go by project base if you're more experienced. So now let's talk about some of the pros about the project-based pricing. So the pros can be unlimited potential, so you can charge as many money as you want. So if you think that the project is worth $1 million, then you can just go for $1 million if you're working with big clients. So there's unlimited potential for the project-based pricing. There's no cap for that. You can just go whatever you think is worth it. And second point is the good thing about the project base as well is that it's very defined. You have a more defined scope of work, so you always know that when you're gonna finish the project by, and you know that at the end of your project, then you can start reaching out to new clients, because you know that one project is gonna be finished, versus like hourly rates, you just don't know when it's gonna last, how long it's gonna last for. So it's pretty defined scope. You know your deadline. It's easier for you to schedule. And the third point is like actually I just mentioned it's good for you to manage your schedule. And the fourth point is that you get the most value of your skill, especially when you're fast. So me myself, I would say I'm pretty fast a designer. So I design things that I just faster than most of other designers I've met. So I'm pretty fast. So I'll be punished if I charge by hourly. But instead, if I charge by projects, then my proficiency kind of benefits me to earn more money, because there's no, it doesn't count me as hourly rate. So I can be like finishing 2 jobs in one day, but I still charge a double amount of money that I would charge by hourly rate. So that covers the last point as well. You just get paid much higher than hourly rates. And one last thing is, man, like charging hourly is a tough job. So every day I remember when I was charging by hour, then I have to think about how much hours I spent today and how much hours I'm gonna spend tomorrow. So every week I'm checking on my hours, because those hours are the money that coming in. So if I don't work, then I don't get paid. But charging per project right now, I don't have to keep checking on my hour, and it's just like so much less the headache that I think about how much hour do I spend today. So peace of mind. So that's a pretty big point. So the cons about project-based pricing. So again, I think I mentioned a lot of things already. So you need to estimate the scope really clearly. And sometime there will be scope creep. So scope creep is the time that when the clients request something that is not in the scope that you sign on the contract. So sometimes they may ask you to do some other things that are not already on the contract. So those are scope creep. But there are a lot of ways that you can avoid it. You can have a more clear scope, and when the people ask things to get done, if it's not in the scope, then you can either just tell them to take out some of the things that are already in the scope and to replace the new one that you want to work on, or they just pay more money. Last point is the project may take longer than expected to finish. This is one thing that I haven't happened to me yet, but I do believe that a lot of people would experience this. So the projects, maybe there are a shitload of revisions. So it at the end, it just takes you so much longer to get things done. but I haven't happened to me yet. It may be in the long run, but again, because I'm charging per hour, sorry, I'm not charging per hour right now, I'm charging per project. So usually I have a lot of wiggle room for me to kind of juggle between the different type of tasks. So I always have like more time reserve for this type of situation. So let's say if a project I think is gonna finish in, let's say 100 hours, but then I will bill for 130 hours just because I want to have a little buffer room for this kind of situation to happen. So I'm not eating into my core revenue, but I'm still having some buffer. So if I can finish faster, then those are the money that I will make. Those are the benefits that I will have for being more efficient. The last point I want to talk about is the pricing strategy. So this is the last point, and I think this is something that may be useful for you guys. I actually don't know, because as I mentioned, I'm in Canada right now. I'm working with the people in San Francisco or in the States in general. Some of them in New York. Some clients I'm actually working with them from Europe as well. So I actually don't know where you guys from, and what is your pricing strategy is. And how much do people usually charge in your area? I just don't know, but something that I think may still make sense, because later on I'm gonna talk about my goals. What is my goal of being a freelancer? What makes me stay being a freelancer? But before I talk about like all this goals and stuff, I do want to mention something, is that when you're thinking about being a freelancer, it's like a game of, it's a mind game as well. Just imagine, like, just think about why would people want to hire you, not hire other people. What are your advantages being a freelancer? So you have to change your mindset to think about in your client's shoes. So you have to put yourself in your client's shoes and think about what do they think when they want to hire you. So these are the advantages that I have in mind, that I think it makes myself more valuable. And from the client's point of view, they will think about these type of things. So the first one is, if I want to hire Caleb, he is probably easy to engage, and he will have flexible hours, so I can contact him anytime I want to. And if I want anything, then I can just Slack him, and he will get back to me in time. So again, like, I'm always reachable. Like when people need something from me, send them some assets, I'm always on call. So this is one good thing about being a freelancer. You don't have an hourly restriction unless you set it for yourself. But usually, because I'm a small business owner right now, I don't really set this kind of restriction. I'm really flexible. So that's one thing that is really good. Second point is less commitment. So my clients don't have to train me, don't have to provide anything. They just have to let me know what kind of thing that they need to get done. Then I will help them to get things done. So these are the very good point, is like quick start, no training required. You pay money, he'll get the job done very quick. The whole thing can be done in 2 weeks, especially if you have a short timeline. These are my advantages. I can provide work really quickly, and yeah. So third point is, when people are looking for a freelancer, especially myself right now, sometimes I will look for a freelancer to hire, to help me to finish some projects that I'm working on. So I don't just look for the people around me. I don't just look for the people in Canada. I do look for people internationally. So rather if you're in Asia, rather if you're in Europe or anywhere in the world, as long as your money is good, as long as there's a chance that we can work together, your schedule is open, I can hire you. So I can hire the best talents internationally, as long as I have the budget. As long as I have the budget, so I can hire the top guy on Dribbble. I can hire anybody, right? So the talent is unlimited. So don't have to be locally limited to your area. So one thing is, like, you know, like when you're hiring full time, it's just so much headache hiring people close to you, blah blah blah. But freelancer, we don't have this restriction, so that's really good. The last point is like high quality of work for less money. I think I mentioned that in the first video as well. So before you decide being a freelancer, you have to know that your skill is above average. At least you're better than so many other people. So you definitely have to do good work before you can freelance, or you wouldn't work out. So definitely you have to have very high quality of work for your portfolio, so people can look at your work and decide to hire you instead of hiring a full-time guy and train him and do all that stuff. So you have to do your work. So you're hiring people to do high quality work, and you may be able to pay them less money than how you will pay to a big agency. And there's a lot of things about big agency as well, like the cons about hiring a big agency. One is that you may not know who you're going to be working with when you're hiring a big agency. Chances are you may not be working with the best person in the agency. You may be working with the junior designers. You just don't know, right? But you're paying them premium money to work on your projects, but then maybe like they will assign a designer that it's not that good. But versus like hiring a freelancer, you handpick the person that you want to work with, so you know that the quality is there, and for less money as well. Usually freelancer, we don't charge just like a big agency, we charge much less money. So those are good point of being a freelancer. So now let's get to the gist of this whole video. So how much do you charge and what is the goal? So my goal of being a freelancer is I want to survive, and by surviving I mean not just surviving, I want to make a good living doing this stuff. So I set a rule for myself. So 20% up or down. What do you mean by 20% up or down? Is calculated by your full-time salary. So how much would you usually get for your full-time salary? So let's say if you get paid, I don't know, like let's say if you get paid in Indonesia, if you get paid, let's say $1,000 per month, or $10,000 or $12,000 per year, and can you make more than $12,000 per year? So 20% up and down. So if you, let's say if you make 10,000 again, then if you end up making 12 grand per year, then that's definitely good. So you're making about your full-time gig. But if you're making 20% less, so that's okay as well. It's not too bad. You still get the benefits of being a freelancer. You can write off your taxes. There's a lot of benefits of being a freelancer as well. So I mean, of course there are cons about being a freelancer too, but I mean, like the worst case scenario is 20%. So if I make less than 20% of what my full-time gig is gonna pay me, then I will question if I do want to stay in this business or not. But now I will give myself a year or two. So let's say if the first year I make 20% up and the second year I make 20% down, then I think it balance out okay. So I'll still keep doing it. But if I have like 2 years consecutively making 20% down, then I'll really think about getting a full-time job or just doing something else. So 20% up and down is the rule I set for myself. So now how much do I actually charge? Again, this is just based on my personal experience and the type of work I'm doing right now. I don't mean that you should follow this and not all the people are charging the same price. I believe that some people, you may be charging so much higher than what I'm charging right now, and you may laugh at my pricing, or you may think that, yo guy, you're so expensive. So it really depends on where you're from, really depends on what type of business you're in right now and the stage of business you're in right now. In our field, we're still a very small team and we do different parts, and these are the pricing that we think make the most sense for us. It may not make the most sense for you, but again, don't judge me by how much I'm charging. If you think that I'm charging less, just let me know. So for me right now, I found the most sweet spot for all these people, especially the people I've been working with right now. The sweet spot for them, definitely, like I know people charge so much more than what I'm charging here right now, but the sweet spot for me is 20k to 60k for full product design plus front-end development. So it really depends on how big the app is. When I build the app, it's usually around that range. If you let's say if you're talking about 10 pages products, then maybe 20k. And if it's like, let's say 30 pages, 60 pages, I don't know, it's maybe like 60k to even 100k. But again, it really depends on the business. Again, I do charge by value. So let's say if a startup makes so much more money than other startups, if you have a lot of potential clients that are using your products, and if your annual revenue is a lot, then yeah, for sure I'm going to increase the price. So by charging 20k to 60k, let's say right now I will set 100k as the ideal hourly, not hourly, sorry, I would say I would say 100K is around the range that how much you would get paid. I mean, of course, like people make more than 100K, especially in what I'm doing in the States. But 100K is kind of like a median price of like how much a product designer is gonna make in the States. And I would say 20% up and down. And think about like this project, I charge 20 to 60K. Then I always keep, as I mentioned, right, keep one project or two projects that you're currently working on. So you have constant working on 1 to 2 projects, that is 2 to 60K, and each of these projects is gonna last about 2 to 3 months of time. And let's say you have 68 projects like this annually, so then your revenue is about like much higher than 20% already. So if you can do that, I'm not saying, guys, like I'm not saying I'm making this amount of money or that amount of money. I'm just like, this is just an estimate. So this is the type of formula that I come up with, and if I keep sticking to it, then I can definitely survive as a freelancer. But again, I'm not so much of a freelancer right now. I do have I do collaborate with other people, and that I'm going to talk about in the second video, in the next video. So that's it, guys. So these are all the things that I have in mind. And again, like, let me know if any of these points I talk about kind of resonate with whatever your pricing structure is, or whatever you're charging to your clients right now. Again, like I'm still pretty new into all these things, and I'm just sharing my experience. So if you know that I may not be charging enough, or I may be doing it wrong, just please leave a comment and let me know. I do want to learn from you guys as well. So I don't think like this series is going to be way too long. I think the last video, like this video, is going to be the second last. So next video is going to be last video of this series. And that video, I kind of want to talk about like what are the difference between calling yourself a freelancer and calling yourself a business. And I do call myself a business right now, but what are the advantages of incorporating your business? How does it make a difference? So if you should do that or not. So I'm going to be talking about that for the next video. But again, this is it for this video. Don't forget to follow me. If you like this video, to subscribe to this channel, or if you want to follow my work, follow me on Dribbble. All the links down below. So thank you very much for watching this video again. I hope that I'm gonna have a video next week. If not, it's gonna be the week after next. So stay tuned. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.